We are back, so we'll see if
There's a back streets back. Ba, ba, ba. I'm actually banking on the audio being terrible right now, so that's fine with me, folks. I got nothing. Let's see if they jump back on because right now we've got you know nobody into the comments. Nate with good morning again.
good, since Nate's first for the second.
First again.
Nate, Davey says it's still terrible. I don't understand.
I wonder how our recording went this morning for the American Hustle.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm gonna kill our audio, not the video this time. See.
audio seems fine on Facebook, is what Nathan's saying. I think we're gonna
Oh,
have to rock and roll with it. You know?
well, if audio seems fine on Facebook, then I don't know. Maybe it's a YouTube issue.
Yeah, something with compression through the YouTubes. Well, folks, we will reiterate the fact that potentially the sound quality issue,
Davey said Nathan's just being nice.
potentially the sound quality issue is on the YouTubes, more so than the Book of Faces. Regardless, if you're an individual who has, kind of muddled through this with us to this point, and you don't feel like you've gotten sufficient sound quality and that is something that bothers you, you can go download this podcast on your favorite streaming platform at a later date. Likewise, we typically have pretty good audio. In fact, kind of a professional approach to the shenanigans that we bring to the Jeep lifestyle every day.
Which is why Jeff looks so angry now.
Right. We typically have a pretty professional approach. So we take this very personally as far as our audio visual is concerned. With that said, we'll let Jeffrey continue to do his darndest to muddle through this, though he does have the production notes on the concept view.
Yeah, I was yes.
So Joe's saying that uh, it's Neil's microphone and that I sound fine. How does Scott sound?
I don't know. How do I sound?
Scott has echo.
So I hear all the mics that Neil has touched this morning are
Oh
broken.
no! Oh no! That's what I hear too. I I didn't do anything. I did get pretty excited in the American Hustle podcast. I'll be honest with you. I
I could
was.
hear you guys up. So
Could you?
pretty good.
Could
So
you? We need
so
to pump that one out again so that you could, people can listen in.
my concern right now is that it is for some reason looping our audio through the computer and not the microphones, and that's why people can hear me and not you guys well. Um,
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like
That's why Jeffrey is employed doing what he does.
let's see. Try something now. See if
Since I am the one who appears to my sound changed in my head, I think. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna sing a cranberry song now next for you.
oh boy. Hmm.
Jeff, let me know when we need to present ourselves appropriate for these technical difficulties that are occurring at the moment.
I mean,
I don't see any more comments coming in, so I'm wondering what the sound quality is. For Niels has low volume.
which if that's still the computer mic picking up for whatever reason, then that would make sense.
This is the ups and downs of live studio audience.
Yeah.
Not quite a studio, but a live audience. And you think about the technical challenges that some of our favorite primetime shows used to experience when something would go awry.
Nate's trying to drag us back on topic.
Let's talk Jeep concepts. I want the retro front end from the
We're good. We
Gladiator.
got it.
I think it's the Convoy. It is the Convoy.
We're
It's fine here. Look at this.
Woo! We got it.
The Rogue attraction, the sound isolation seems high. YouTube, like, over processed. So,
And now
that's probably true. Way worse on YouTube. Can't hear on YouTube. I appreciate all these people weighing in.
I like Daddy
Sounds
Jeep.
good
Jeff
now.
seems to have the only. Wait, Neil's back. And Scott's back.
Scott's back.
Woo!
Now that's
We
Scott
fixed
on.
it.
Yes, except for it's way worse. Can't hear on the YouTubes. Folks, I am concerned that it is a YouTube issue.
Well,
more
Scott,
so
no,
than a
Scott L
Facebook.
said it was worse, and then he said, Scott's back, so I think we're good again.
Okay, we're gonna
think
go with it,
It's
I
an
folks.
think we're
emotional roller coaster.
It is,
Woo!
and if nothing else,
Sounds good from Daddy Jeep. All right, we're good.
we're gonna push forward to the best of our ability.
Next
and as
time,
I
maybe
mentioned-
don't give us so many accolades about
Right?
how good we are, how set
Oh.
up we are.
Terrible,
My
Jeff.
God.
Terrible. You got to
Jeff,
run.
you did a suck job getting this podcast.
Hey, look, we're working. Everything's good.
Folks, we're in 75 countries, and I just don't know why. Because there's absolutely no reason we
Got to
should be.
raise it up, man.
Man.
The
Wowzers.
computer took it to heart and was like, "Oh, I don't have to do anything now. I can slack off."
There's going to be
I
some.
went to school for this. This is bad.
There's going to be some bloopers reel at some point, folks, and I apologize. It's going to have singing and Jeff's fabric cobbling of the audio system.
Well, it's going to be
in the
great. I'm
system.
going to clip all the singing that happened off camera.
Oh, goodness. All right. So, as we mentioned, this is the kind of the dawn of the show season. In fact, I even saw a local event happen. A shout out to our Western Pennsylvania folks in general. And first and foremost, I saw that there was a Jeep invasion in Hermitage, Pennsylvania, which, if you've never heard of Hermitage, that's okay. It is a sleepy borough somewhere, middle of the land between Erie and Pittsburgh. I saw a number of people gathering in a crowd over the weekend for that. But likewise, while talking about Western Pennsylvania, I know that Bill McWilliams is normally on air with us, as he is what I would say is one of our regular supporters. But I understand that he is working for that Jeep money. That Jeep said, where my money at? And so not able to join us today. So we're missing you today, Bill. And we thank you for being such a regular and good supporter of this program. With that said, the big gateway of the Jeep off-road season is typically regarded as Easter Jeep Safari, shortened as EJS. It is an event that dates back to the 50s, arguably, where the Red Rock Wheelers Association, I think that was the name at that time, may or may not still be exactly that. I could have butchered it. But got together and said, hey, you know what? I think it'd be fun to take these former military, now civilian-esque vehicles and kind of push them to our limits in the wild frontier that was the West at that time. And they started gathering and off-roading. Really neat history lesson there that is one that is influential to our industry and a group that has helped pave the way for the off-road and aftermarket industry as we know it. Now, they start kind of the initiation of the gathering of Jeep people, and then quickly the industry shifts over to the Southeast, where folks will be gathering for Jeep Beach in the middle of Florida, if you will, the Daytona area. So this is the season. It is upon us, folks. And soon enough, as those events kick off, there'll be a smattering of other, what I would call smaller scale, still very influential group get-togethers for the Jeep industry. But then early June, we'll be kicking off with Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival. It's one of what I would call the top 10 large shows in the country. So the countdown is on. It is officially Jeep season.
That's right.
With that celebration, Jeep Corporate, the entity, the mothership, has typically in the past teased us for weeks on end.
And they didn't.
That's because they're tanking.
Oh, but there was all the stuff that they normally release available once we did some digging.
Oh.
We found all the concepts drawings and the little teaser drawings that they normally release.
Yeah.
We found them all. They exist.
They just didn't market them.
They didn't
push
market
them
them.
out.
Yep.
Well, it's kind of hard when your funds are in the dumps and you've got a emergency shifts of personnel and your dealers association is lighting you on fire.
And the sad part is, in my opinion, this would have been a great opportunity to just let some leak out or trickle out into the media and let the media do the work for you. You didn't have to pay for marketing. You didn't have to do, but just let it go out.
organically. Let Jeep people do what Jeep people do.
Yeah.
And there just was a tremendous lack of coverage
And-
leading
and-
up to the event.
And this is actually the 59th Easter Jeep Safari.
Wow.
So, and this is Jeep and JPP, which is Jeep Performance Parts.
Yes.
One of the things that I found interesting is we got a quote from the Jeep CEO of Bob. I'm not even going to try the last name. Moab is our home away from home.
Sure is.
So-
That's what and it's a little bit of a pilgrimage for a number of people to go out there and to to kind of function and operate their Jeeps. And I have a lot of good stories from Moab with our customers, with people that I feel like really have embraced the Jeep life themselves. We get a lot of questions about our participation specifically. And I think one of the challenges as the way that we have scaled over the years is our prioritization of our in-house customers, our sales, the parts that we said we were going to fulfill, because it's a very busy time of year for us. And now with all of our media pursuits, with the creation of videos and podcast content and updates and so on and so forth, it has become increasingly challenging for us to move this level of operation out of the house for a week or two at a time.
And,
Yeah.
and the biggest reason, more than anything, is me and Greg get grumpy when we're out of the shop.
That is 100%
Yeah,
true.
you guys would much rather just work on the Jeeps.
That is 100%
Um,
true.
And Nate also brought up another Trail Hero Expeditions is another event that's coming up.
That is, and Nate will be participating in that. So, folks, you're going to want to weigh in and see, his experience along the way. A very interesting and cool opportunity for somebody local to Western Pennsylvania to participate in.
Yeah.
So there is actually a YouTube video out there I did on a lot of all of the concept vehicles that have been released historically, dating back to the early 2000s, because this is become a thing for the industry to do, is to tease the Jeep life with the latest and greatest developments. And if you're unfamiliar with what a concept vehicle is, it is a typically, right? And I think Jeff's going to expand upon this, but it is typically a vehicle that's never going to come to production, or the likelihood of it coming to production is slim to none. Think of like the Jeep Hurricane back in the day, where it actually was a twin engine powered 4-wheel steer
It
vehicle.
was awesome.
I
But
think the best part, though, is if you go to any other concepts for any other automotive brand, they pretty much just put it on a turnstile.
Yep.
They have a pretty lady beside it.
Yes.
It doesn't do anything. They usually pull back a curtain because
Yes.
it can't even roll onto the
No,
turnstile.
it has
by
to stay
itself.
on the turntable and just rotate.
And so much so that I've actually seen where they're actually clay with some stuff put on them,
Yes.
where Jeep is like, hold my water.
Yes.
I'm going to actually go wheel these things.
Right, because we don't condone drinking and driving. Also, incredibly presumptive of you to say it was a pretty lady. I mean, listen, what is this,
Well,
the 1970s?
well.
It could be a pretty man for whoever out there.
That's fair.
could be a pretty man dressed like a woman. I mean,
Jeff just kicks the door. And there we are.
And there we are.
Anyway,
Folks, we were giving you entirely too qualified information about our experience, and we needed to derail it.
yes.
All right, so turnstile, claymation, because we
Yes.
don't even know if the vehicle runs.
I actually remember, I think it was the early 2000s, late 90s. I can't remember exactly, but Buick made a concept that actually ran and drove.
Okay.
And it was so exciting.
So big deal.
And all the hot rod mags basically had coverage. It was the beginning of the retro look.
Yes.
And everybody's like, wow, it actually
It
drives.
drives. Yeah. And Jeep's like, hey, watch us.
We're gonna
right? And
wheel
we're gonna wheel it. We're actually gonna put it through its paces. We're gonna, do the whoops through the dunes.
we're going to prove
and
that the concept can be done.
can be
Yeah.
done. And I think there's going to be an important differentiation between concept vehicles and
potential production vehicles.
Correct.
And I want to prime you guys in that conversation.
Well, I think we're gonna stir the pot, because what was interesting is the way that they entered these vehicles into the event this year.
Okay.
And I will break that down here in a minute. You're going to want to stay tuned, though, because we're going to break down each of the 7 builds. I'm going to just name off what the names are, and then we'll move on. So the names of the 7 are Convoy, Bug Out, Rewind, Blueprint, Sun Chaser, High Top Honcho, and J6 Honcho. We're going to break those down. But first, I have news. Jeep has announced 10 new Badge of Honor trails,
Pretty substantial.
including 3 in Moab.
Mm-hmm.
There is a limited trail system that has rewards available for a set amount of time and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then there is an additional call out for that Badge of Honor. So that's pretty cool, opening up more opportunities. So those of you that have gotten all your badges, guess what? There's 10 new ones.
Yep. More for you to do with your Jeeps, which is just such a brilliant age to be living in with Jeep, right? And we didn't have that back in the day. We did not have that. Also, I'd like to 100% tout that quite a few of these concepts are truck inspired.
Yes.
That comes with the names. I always like the names that they kind of throw around. I think that there's a lot of truck inspiration, which if you go back to our previous podcast, plus one of the YouTube videos I recently did, we can kind of understand what is marinating at the mothership.
Must
right
be
now.
they finally realized they have trucks for sale.
They must have figured it out, because all the other sales are tanking,
Yeah.
and maybe we shouldn't sell $120,000 luxury vehicle people movers as a ambiguously branded Wagoneer.
Maybe they should just sell pickup trucks, like when I wanted to buy when I couldn't.
Sell just a pickup truck
Not
for
salty.
a Jeep owner
I'm
with
not
solid
salty.
axles. And I love a Wagoneer. I want a Wagoneer in my stable. Don't get me wrong, but I want a Jeep Wagoneer. I want a Jeep truck. All right,
Anyway,
tell us about him, Jeffrey.
Well, another news thing is Jeep's Land Stewardship Initiative. They're doing the annual cleanup with Red Rock four-wheelers.
Awesome.
and
I want to
the
hear
alarm.
about this, Jeff, but I want to hear about the trucks.
I know. And then
Got us on our edge of our seats.
if you actually went to Moab, some of the things that you could be doing is there's the display at Walker Drug, which is where you can actually see all the concept vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
There's the daily trail and city test drives available with some prize vehicles. They don't tell us what those are, so I think you
Ooh.
have to go for that.
Yes.
Night trail ride with Casey Curry.
Mm-hmm.
The trail mixer, of course. And there's just a fun culture of the Overlanders and everything that's going on out there.
Yes, and I'm going to take the most briefest moment to share with people that we have individuals who go out there because it has become increasingly and amazingly popular to outfit your Jeep with the latest and greatest tech and gadgets and accoutrements that life could throw your way, and to overbuild it with all the goodies that the market has available to you. But I am absolutely privy to a number of people who just basically woke up one day, got in their Jeep, ragged out with whatever was going on with it as it sat, and drove it to Moab. And they literally had a sleeping mat and, sleeping bag, a small tent, a pail of tools. And you just go out there and you kind of live in the space. And, I applaud whatever end of the spectrum you find yourself on.
I like the accidental trips with me.
And I think you would really appeal to that. But I had the opportunity to talk with a young man who was in his mid-20s, and he was out there, and he had just basically woke up one day. He was from the East Coast, and he said, you know what? I'm just going to go to Moab because it's what I'm supposed to do with my Jeep.
Mhm.
And, he was just camping basically on the side of the road. Cool stuff. So you can find it. Whatever you're looking for out there, you'll be able to find it.
All right. Are we
But
ready?
I want to find concepts.
You want to find concepts. So what happens when overlanding meets ultralight camping? Jeep delivers a bare bones beast built for modern nomads, part explorer, part e-survivalist, and that is Bug Out. So I'm going to bring the picture up.
Mm-hmm.
So Bug Out is a 4xe concept. It was a 4xe Rubicon when they started with it. And then basically a radical weight loss journey as they changed quite a bit of it. They extended 12 inches, completed with a raised roof, another 4 inches in height for better interior functionality. Tiny home on electric wheels. They mounted off-road e-scooter, Jeep branded, of course, on it.
Of course.
That gives you 40 minutes of scooting range.
Scooting.
Scooting range. Did
So-
not know
so
I
you have
needed.
to- You need a stopwatch and go 20 minutes out and 20 minutes back.
I'm gonna say it. Is that for when the 4xe leaves you dead on the side of the trail because the battery has discharged? I'm a 4xe guy.
I just want to see them using the scooter on some of these obstacles.
Right? So for folks who are listening at home, we've got this sweet-looking vehicle. It's got some multicolor going on.
It's not
bright
sure
yellow.
if it's yellow or gray.
Yeah, it's not sure. I don't know if it's got aluminum body clad. It has a hood scoop on it.
Mm-hmm.
For
kind of mixed signals.
the
when it's a
weird
4x8.
mixed signal for the 4xe.
That is funny.
It reminds me of a shaker scoop for kind of Mopar heritage, but
What it is it's like a performance meets those old, and I'm sure I'm probably the only one that knows this, but back in the 50s and the 40s, you could get a panel truck where they cut the side out and you could put your produce in the back for sale.
yes,
That's what the side of the back reminds me of.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
and that point, Scott, it does have the Gladiator-style drop tailgate with high clearance flares and a custom auxiliary battery pack built into the sides.
For when you
Yep,
need to
yes.
charge your
So-
scooter.
so
But,
when
yeah.
you need to charge your scooter, so that you're not stranded on the trail.
But don't worry, it's bedline floors,
I hope so.
hammock-ready interior setup.
hammock ready.
When you've sold your produce.
They got the topographical map seat inserts.
Uh-huh.
And then it is wrapped in a special P51 matte silver paint with yellow accents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not sure whether it's yellow or silver. That's
Right.
accurate. And it's got this big white top. You said the top is actually 4 inches higher, but it feels like maybe the windshield frame is not adjusted. It's just the top has kind of a high top conversion on it.
Yeah. Because that windshield looks squished.
The top looks like it came off a Westphalia Volkswagen.
I would agree
Yeah.
with you. It's got a high
I
top.
feel like
on
that should be able to come off and become a boat.
It can flip over. It covers all the surfaces you need to cover. Speaking of flip overs, there's actually quite a few rollovers this weekend.
Yeah,
Already.
Out
Already.
It's
already.
a not tight knit club.
That's what I was gonna say. Jeep was prepared. They said, "Hey, we were teasing you with flipping over, but you didn't need to actually follow through on it."
Rock D Block saying, "Does the roof come off?" And honestly, I don't know.
Anything can come off with enough sawzall.
Well, yes, that's fair.
You would.
I don't know if it's designed for easy takeoff. Let's put
Okay,
it that way.
does the name Bug Out represent the concept? Like where
No.
bug other than like a tech bug? I'm trying to.
Well, okay,
like-
it's because it's multicolored. It reminds me a little bit of a bug. Other than that,
See,
no.
When I think of Bug Out, I'm looking to a
Something
poo
that's-
hits the fan scenario.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
and you're
dating us
Or
there.
draws your eyes really, like it catches your attention. And I'd argue that this one kind of blends into the background of many of the Jeeps that are there.
The hood and the door
fascinating.
does.
Well,
I dig it. I love it as a standalone unit, but I think when I hear the term Bug Out to what the concept actually is, I feel
this
like
is not the Jeep that I would have guessed it to be.
yeah, I felt misrepresented.
I
Yep.
feel like you had 3 teams working on this concept, and they weren't allowed to talk to each other. And then at the end, like a week before, they're like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna put you all in one
What
room
did
now."
you come up with?
And they're like, "Crap, we just better put it all together and make it work."
One team picked one paint color. They couldn't
Yes.
agree. The other team picked the other
Yes.
paint color.
Yeah.
You had the van guys. That's where the roof came from.
Oh man.
All right, what do we got next, Jeffrey?
So the next one is this. And this is what if your first car grew up with you? The 2-door 2025 Wrangler Rubicon gets a full 80s to 90s glow up,
Oh boy.
built by custom designers who grew up in that golden era.
I got totally
Oh.
trolled on this one.
Oh wait, what color is it?
Plum crazy.
No,
Okay.
Grimace purple.
Grimace. It's Grimace purple per Mopar.
Oh, I love it.
They
Screams MTV arcades and roller rinks.
So
there was 2 generations they put us out for.
So up on the screen now, 2-door. It's Grimace is the purple gumdrop from McDonald's.
Yes,
This
it
is-
may or may not exist.
right.
There was some
There's-
controversy
There's
there.
some Mandela effect there.
So I like the color.
Wait till I show you the
I
interior.
like the amount of lift and the tire size. That looks appropriate. What in the heck happened with the wheels?
Yeah, I agree there.
They're
They're custom AEV wheels with gold pockets and beefy 37-inch KM3s because Neon needs grip.
Well,
they look like any other AEV wheel.
I was going to
seen.
say, there's the problem. You let AEV do it.
Yes.
So
Um,
let's just keep getting demonetized, folks.
this
Let me let you know how I feel.
this Jeep is specifically a Neil Jeep because it's open air freedom, no doors or roof.
Amen.
Does come with a mesh sun bonnet, keeping it breezy and fun. There is no rear bench, no fluff, simplified vibes, and vintage car phone for calling in style.
Simplified car.
Wait. Here's the interior. I purposely did this picture for you.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
buddy. I love it.
So you get that retro playground, plastic floor liner, boom boxy, and
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. So they did a great job on the seats and on the dash. What in the heck happened with the mirrors?
the mirrors.
They
Also,
They
look at
got
the
out
radio.
to Moab. They got out to Moab. They realized they forgot the mirrors.
Yes.
They called up Kentrol
Yep.
and sent
Yes.
the most average aftermarket, what is literally called the Outback
They
mirror.
were driving down the road and went, you know what? We forgot something. I can't see out of this.
Yep.
And they stopped at the first 4x4 shop they found out there. And they're like, hey, we need mirrors. What do you got on the shelf? They're like, hey, you got hinges for their doors that don't exist? And they're like, yeah. Plunk. Done.
Punk.
I love that there's actually a vintage hand phone in the passenger seat area.
I can't
Yep.
see it, Jeff. It's
Uh,
too small.
I can see it. I understand, Jeff.
So it's Scott for you. It's
Right
here.
there.
Our audience
Oh.
can't see where I'm circling, but
Yeah, it's on the passenger. It would be where you would, back
See-
in the JK days, we mounted CBs.
So,
but the fact that it has that and then it has the mammoth display screen for the radio,
yeah,
like
no,
that's counterintuitive.
no.
I want
let's
like
put a
small
cassette tape in there.
Jensen. I want a small Jensen
EQ
stereo.
with all the little buttons.
No,
Yes.
you got to have the cassette
You have
player
one
with a little
job.
adapter for your CD player.
Or I would actually like a Sony Explode.
There you go. There you go.
You know what? They could have won me over with round side view mirrors.
Yeah.
I need the.
Yeah.
I don't want the Outback
Well, it's
mirrors.
the 80s. Everything was square.
But they weren't that square. Then that's the oblong. That's
Those
like
are just YJ headlights put on their side.
yeah.
So the question that came up with is the rewind concept a brilliant flashback or just Jeep designers flexing their millennial playlist?
I think it is cute, and I love that they give us this kind of stuff to do a nod to the to their market at the point and kind of where it's come from.
I like the color. Color's cool.
The color's cool. The flash, the age of nostalgia is popular. Whether people are
They can even produce it with those wheels because the very first thing you do with a Jeep is rip the wheels off, throw them away, and put something else on.
yeah, they could, because that's what needs to happen to those wheels. You know what? Here's the thing. I love the idea, folks. I personally, I'm going to say I think I've seen it done better. I like it, but I've seen it done better.
But you would
elsewhere.
drive it.
Oh, in a
100%.
heartbeat. I want to address somebody from the YouTubes there, Jeep something or other. Won't the mirrors fold in while driving? Just so that we are clear. And again, folks, these are actually production mirrors that you can buy on the internet. Specifically, we sell the product from Kentrol called the Outback Mirror, which looks identical to what is on that Jeep. No, they don't fold in because you're actually mechanically bolting them into place. With a threaded, they have a threaded pin and then an actual nut.
Can't
itself.
ever say never.
I was
'cause There
gonna
are
say-
392 Jeeps out there.
I don't
was
think
gonna
I
say,
said never. Did I say
Yeah,
never?
you said never. You get moving fast enough. Those bolts are
Yeah,
gonna
I mean-
fold in.
Mine do not fold in, but if you smack a tree with them, they'll fold in.
I'm gonna go back to the rewind interior because somebody said the Noid on the windshield.
Oh, is it off to the right? What is that? It looks sort of like annoyed.
Yeah, I think it is annoyed there.
Huh?
So the funniest part, because I saw somebody bring this up, so I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. When you said retro phone, I thought like old.
Why would you go back to like
Car phone.
why,
Retro
it's a
car
retro
phone.
car phone?
So
You went back too
You went to
far.
an analog dial-up?
Rotary phone.
Rotary.
He went to
Thank you.
rotary phone.
and then when you called it out, I was like, oh, it's a touch tone phone, like would have been in a Mercedes in the 80s.
That's what a retro car phone is.
Scott, what rotary? What? I mean, were you
Which-
just dragging
I
a
was gonna
telephone
say.
line, but like a switchboard behind you? Come on, folks. This is why he's not allowed out in public. This is what you would get.
Could you imagine Scott being asked to put a car phone in, and he starts trying to put a rotary phone in? He's over here.
Well, if we're doing
We're
retro,
doing a
He's over here.
restoration.
Jeff, Greg, how do I wire this rotary phone so it'll work
I'll
with
just
this?
give
with
you a
this
tether. You
headphone?
plug it in. It's fine.
All right.
He's building a custom mount for a rotary phone on the dash.
Don't tempt me.
That's it. It's happened in the next. It's happened in the next Jeep. There we go.
Back to the bold. This is the Jeep Gladiator high top honcho. Let me pull that up. There you go.
Beautiful.
It is a 1970s Jeep truck swagger with a heritage-inspired graphics. It is a Rubicon Gladiator platform, but flexing modern trail conquering muscle. Riding on
Isn't
what
that the
size
same
tires?
thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds like
What size tires?
sounds like they let the marketing department just pick from a thesaurus.
It's got to be at least 40s.
42s.
It's 40s. White letter KO3 all terrains. Wrapped around custom painted steel wheels. Dana 60s front and rear with the 538 gears. So this is where you're getting that extra flex and the extra muscle for the trails.
Sure.
Okay.
AccuAir adjustable suspension.
It's one of those guys.
And we're the AEV bumper with a winch.
So this was last year's concept that was red.
Yeah.
They painted it brown, put
Mhm.
stickers on it, and changed the wheels.
They were having
Pretty
again
much.
that same marketing meeting. They were like,
they
"What can
added-
we do without spending any extra money?"
They added
Yes.
rock slide power steps.
That had last year's.
Oh,
Had that.
they added the deck storage system.
That had that.
Oh. Color match hardtop and a bed roll bar.
Yeah.
I think
The
last
bedroll
year's
bar.
It was there, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Quilted tan and black Alea leather, JPP embossed headrest, and a bright pedal kit, giving it an upscale punch.
Oh, bright pedal kit.
I love that JPP is claiming this one, and you can buy rock slide and AEV parts.
So the question is, do you like this, or would you want to be able to purchase this retro themed trim right from the factory?
I would absolutely want to purchase this retro theme from the factory.
I mean, the sad part is it's not that hard to do this.
I'm honestly, I'm not sold on this one.
No,
No.
Yeah.
it speaks to me. Oh, 100%. I
It's
love it.
cool.
I
I
love
like
the
it a
steel
lot.
wheel look.
It just isn't that hard to do.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
It's fair.
really
That's fair.
think this is last
not-
year's
I
concept.
was gonna say, to me, this is not a concept vehicle. And what's important to note is, of these 7 vehicles, only 3 of them are listed as concept by Jeep.
Sure.
I
The-
mean,
the
last
rest,
year's
the rest were listed as JPP, so they're marketing the JPP parts.
Correct. That's exactly where I'm kind of coming in, and basically this is where the mothership has recognized that if they're not selling parts into the aftermarket, then they've left a vacuum for some of these other entities to sell parts. And so where I feel like you have the haves and the have-nots of the market, you have the Amazon quality parts. Jeep is pursuing some of these, touted as more USA manufacturers, Rockslide, AEV. I'd love to see like some rock hard parts, but you're not going to. There's a certain group of businesses that rub elbows together, and you're going to see them represented by JPP. It's basically, in theory, how it was supposed to be was that you could finance your performance parts into it, but the bean counters and the legal team keep making that more and more challenging. And quite frankly, many techs at dealerships have no idea what they're looking at when it comes to these parts.
And Giaga Jeepers just commented that it's more of a package than a concept, and that's exactly what we were just saying.
And I think it gauges people's interest in those packages and those parts. That's the point of why they are touting it with the concepts. While it is not a concept, it's helping gauge that relevancy to the market.
Interestingly enough, this next one is also not listed as a concept. It's old school looks, new school muscle, a retro twist on the Gladiator. Takes a 2025 modern 4-door Gladiator Rubicon into a classic 2-door truck, bringing back the beloved Honcho vibes from the late 70s. So here's your picture. This is a J6 Honcho.
Mm-hmm.
They stretched out with a 6-foot bed, so you get an extra foot. The wheelbase matches the current 4-door Wrangler, keeping it trail capable and balanced despite the longer box. Stands tall on a 2-inch lift, 37-inch KM3 MTs with white lettering and 17-inch bronze wheels. It's got flat fender flares that are a concept. Those are not currently available. Triple hoop bumper with TYRI lights and a worn winch. The roll bar also has 6 of the TYRI lights and custom rock rails. There is a radio delete inside.
Oh, I'd like to see that personally.
And I don't have the interior
They should
picture.
have put that in the purple one too.
Yes, I agree. And then
Sony Explode.
Well, that's after when you
Yes.
buy it, you take the delete out, put the explode in.
the interior also has blue stitching and bronze vintage accents.
I'm going to go back to the other retro one, and I feel like the HVAC shouldn't work either. If
Oh.
we're really going back to
Unless
90s
you like
Jeeps,
hit it right.
Right?
that the cables are breaking and the slides are not working.
I'm gonna call this one Neil's possible favorite of the group.
I know which one's going to be his favorite, and I don't think it's this one.
So I'm in love
Well,
with this one.
currently-
I like
currently,
This one.
this is my favorite.
I would say if I didn't know what's coming down the line, this would be one of my favorites.
That's fair.
The
So-
only where they failed is they should have added more tubes to the roll bar, so at least a double, if not a triple bar, because they got all the lights.
Yeah.
They just
Yes.
need little mini KC covers for them, even though I know they're not KCs. I'm sorry, it just has to say KC.
You know, I think it's funny. I love that it's a nice blend of modern tech with retro styling, you know, with the lights as a change up and
Yeah.
they're not the KCs. It would have almost been cliche to put the KCs on it, right? Too
Yes.
much. The only thing is, I recognize that we are living in the era of bronze wheels.
Yeah,
Because
and I
obviously we
don't
had
like
the
it.
bronze accenting, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to 100%, I'm going to stand my ground and say, I'm going to give our performance lead mechanic, Greg Lentz, like he is the guy who helped proliferate bronze wheels
Oh,
into the industry.
Without question.
I
He painted his own to be bronze.
Correct. Long before they were fully available onto the market. He
Right.
saw it
Yeah.
on one other concept. They were so rare that we could not get them imported into the States at that time. So he
Yeah.
reproduced it himself in the LSXJ. And I stand my ground that he was one of the first ones who brought that to the off-road industry. Now, with that said, I just love the white steel wheels that we saw on the Honcho. I like black wheels still.
Yeah, that would have
I-
looked sweet with a deep dish,
Yes.
old school,
Old school white.
reversed
Yeah.
wheel.
That's what I want to see on that.
And my
J6
call to action is take that sticker
package.
setup package and release it for current,
Absolutely.
so that you could go into the dealership, 4-door, 2-door, doesn't matter, and put that on your Jeep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was a
That
nice
would be
sticker
hard.
package.
No, it would not be too terrible, and
No.
there would be people who would, unquestionably, because I just over the weekend saw some of our former customers. They have a similar sticker package that
Yep.
they actually created,
Yep.
and they need it redone, and they're desperately looking for the creation and installation of it. Yet again,
And they should have called that a scrambler.
Mm.
They should have. That was a miss.
And then the J6, I was
Swing
trying
and
to
a
figure
miss.
out what the insignia for J6 is, right? So we had the J8.
Hmm.
So why are they calling it the J6? You
Maybe
know?
it has a door opening that you bang your butt on.
Weirdo.
It's because of the 6-foot bed.
Oh, there we
Oh.
go. Because they've
Because
extended
it's
the bed.
actually a short bed.
Why,
Neil,
why am I the one that got that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Neil-
Especially because you and I had that conversation about the
The
bed.
only
I
way you could
know.
make it better is if they made an 8-foot option for
and had
for,
the J8.
yeah, the J8.
We-
Because
we
Jeff
just
and I
talked about
literally
that.
talked about that.
Neil loves a long bed.
I want a long bed. I
I-
want a regular cab long bed.
All right, so the next one is basically just a showcase of the Mopar and Jeep performance parts.
They always have one.
and
They
it
just
is
have a rolling catalog.
it is called Blueprint.
Oh, that's fair. Yep.
Ugh.
And it looks like a rolling catalog.
Ugh.
Listen, there are enough people out there in the industry who like that look.
Honestly,
They like that
there's
contrast.
a lot of people saying that they really like the blue on black look of that. I can't stand it personally.
So what I think they did is all the parts you can buy are blue.
Yes, and
They did
QR
that-
coded. All of them have QR codes. They
Of
did
course
this.
they do.
It's
They did
brilliant.
this before.
They've done it before. They did it with red accents before, I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
It goes to all the shows or enough shows, and it stands there on display.
It gets better. I don't have the flip side of this because I didn't realize that at the time, but they actually have different sides. So each side is different designs for featuring different parts.
Okay,
So
makes
it's a-
sense to me.
So it's a two-face Jeep.
It's a two-faced Jeep. This was appealing to somebody at the marketing and sales at the ownership level. I love it. It makes
Yep.
perfect sense to me. I've actually talked about doing this with one of our own, in our own sense at shows.
And
Makes
this
sense.
this Jeep comes with a 2-inch lift, high clearance fenders, Rubicon steel bumpers, Warn winch, the TYRI lights, and rock rails. There are 3 different styles of wheels.
Does it have 3 different styles of wheels on it?
It says that's what it says. Yep.
Huh.
So beadlock capable for the driver's side, non-beadlock for the passenger side, and the spare wheel with the same beadlock capability.
It has a snorkel.
It has a snorkel.
No.
It's a 37-inch KO3 all-terrains with the snorkel, tube doors, with and without mesh covers. So we're looking at the non-mesh cover side.
I was gonna say, what is the blue that I see above the driver and passenger
If
driver
I had
side?
to guess, it's a shade.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if that's the mesh cover. You know, that's what I'm wondering if
Yes.
that's a if that is in fact the mesh cover.
No, the
that
mesh
happens.
cover's for the doors.
Oh,
The
okay.
the tube doors with and without mesh covers. So this side doesn't have the mesh on the door.
I see what you're saying. Well, there's definitely something above
There is
the
absolutely-
occupants there.
I don't know what that is. I didn't find a description of that.
That's fair.
It does come with cat skin leather seat covers, multi-accessory rail for endless mod possibilities, auxiliary switch bank, grab handles, and tailgate table for convenience.
Okay. I really wonder. I've encountered enough people at shows and whatnot. You know, there's such a very finite population of people who order their Jeeps with these performance products on them. Like, how many sales do they realistically get out of this? You know, and ultimately with the one of the previous applications, they did this, and people couldn't get any of these performance parts. They made
So-
such a small batch run of them,
I wonder if a JPP snorkel voids your warranty.
right?
Right?
Because you're you're putting a snorkel on, and then you're not going to tell them you used it.
Right. You're not allowed to actually ford water up to the windshield.
Yes.
You know, interesting.
No idea.
Interesting.
Then we're gonna get into the Sun Chaser, which I think is gonna be Neil's favorite.
This has more of that bug out vibes to me.
So
I saw this one too.
The Sun Chaser is the ultimate day-to-night off-road adventure. Sunrise to sunset. It's built to power through a full day of outdoor activities featuring solar flash and satin black two-tone exterior. Those are your colors on
That's
that.
how you put 2 colors on a vehicle and make it look good.
Right?
Yes.
It's designed to be extra functional with a 2-inch lift kit, vented high-top steel fender flares, and rock rails.
Vented.
Vented,
Venting your fender
so
flares.
the mud can get through.
Yes.
I-
Um,
I have questions.
so you can cool your tires off because you need vents for
I
it.
hate it when my tires are warm.
Now, Mopar had this off-road pivoting light bar last year.
Yes.
They call it the Illuminate. I can't help but think Illuminati every time I read it because they put a 3 at the end of it.
Yeah.
So there's that. The pivoting light bar does look pretty cool. I'm curious to see if that is going to be something that comes out into production.
Sure.
The new concept offers more power, visibility, optimized for the 4xe specifically. So they did change that Illuminate light
Okay.
for this year. Warn winch with custom front winch guard, push bar, 37-inch BF Goodwrench KM3 mud terrain tires, and a roof rack. There's also side storage boxes with integrated Molly panels and serious utility and functionality. And then the interior has custom two-tone leather seats, leather wrap, and door armrest, center console lid. Then also all-weather floor mats and an IP multi-accessory rail.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking one. And of course, you all know my propensity for 4xEs. I really haven't heard a diversity of engine platforms yet.
Yeah.
So,
No, they didn't do anything with engines this year.
okay.
That was not a focus. But I skipped over one.
I know you did.
And I skipped over one on
You actually
purpose.
skipped over 2.
Nope.
Well, there's 2 that I haven't seen yet.
Nope, there's only one you haven't seen.
All right. Well, let's see how we go.
So this one is not that one. Where is
Nope.
that?
Lies.
Convoy.
There it is.
That's what you were clicking on the high top honcho again.
I wanted the
and
convoy.
You wanted the convoy. That's I was creeping on what you were doing on the computer. There
Yep.
we go.
So we have a muscle grill that got chopped down.
It's what we were talking about with the latest YouTube video and our podcast.
It's
about.
the J Truck Reborn for modern duty.
Yep. I love it.
This is my favorite.
Rail's too narrow. Need to get rid of the flares, make the rail wider.
You see, and this is
I
that,
like that grill.
Makes my eye twitch.
this is that integrated fender flare versus
Yes.
non.
If
Yep.
you're gonna do it, gotta
Conversation.
go all in.
I get the integrated look. I understand that, but I do
They
like
have a
this.
little
They
flare.
literally went right down the middle and said, "We're going to give you the vintage and retro grill,
Yeah.
but we're also going to keep that inspired non-integrated."
I
And
want
I
like-
think it looks good.
I want like a 2-inch flare, so it looks like a J truck.
You want the wide track J truck
Yes.
look going on.
All right, so this is gonna have the J Truck nose with the first ever 7-slot grill, which is I think why I like it.
You know what's funny is I literally was going to say that in our previous content, and here
Oh,
they did it.
Only one problem: real J trucks don't have 7 slots.
Hence
It's
it
not
said
a
first
real
ever 7-slot
J-Truck.
grill. J
Come
Truck
on.
nose, not J Truck. J Truck
Right.
nose.
A J truck is a J truck. This is the new age.
It is in Ghost Ops matte paint. That's the color on it.
So
Okay.
flat white.
It's got the chocolate
Gotta
brown
sound fancier than that.
canvas half doors and canopy.
Yep. Because we got a multicolor.
Is it
everything.
on a 3/4 ton platform though? I want it to have a diesel and a 3/4 ton
Hold on.
chassis underneath of
Here,
it.
I don't have that info, but I do have.
It doesn't.
It's got the 12K Warn Xeon winch up front,
Ooh.
40-inch BFG crawler tires,
Okay.
Warn wheels, and high clearance flares. This isn't for show; it's for duty. Distressed brown leather lowbacks, military spec OD green bedline floors. So you get your green in it
So wait a minute. We
So
got white,
white.
brown,
and green.
and then green.
Yeah.
Why?
The 3 different engineering
Yes.
groups, and they're just picking out of a hat.
Oh,
They're just picking out of a hat.
I knew you'd love that.
I don't.
I dig so much. They've come so far for us. Now, was this listed as a concept, Jeffrey, or was this listed as a JPP? I'm assuming this is concept.
This one was JPP.
Was it?
Yeah. There was only
I thought I knew it was either the Convoy or the J6 were listed as a JPP, which teases us to say that it could actually be in production.
so this is a JPP because the only concept is changing that front.
So there was a time where
It's got low back buckets that will never make it through.
safety won't let that happen.
No.
Legal.
But the J6 was specifically the one that I wondered if they're ever actually going to make into production.
With the 6-foot bed and the regular cab.
Right.
On the
Yeah, too many people
standard
want that.
unlimited chassis.
Too many people want that, so they won't do it.
Well, I feel like if they
uh,
figured out how to do it on an unlimited
Davey
chassis,
just commented that it's not actually white, and the green is inspired by military aircraft. So
Okay.
I don't know what color that is if that's not white.
What did you call it again? Ghost matte?
Ghost Op matte?
Ghost op matte. So maybe it's kind of a gray and we're just not seeing it well.
It looks white to me.
It's got the black wheels, right?
Yeah,
Now,
I like
one of
the
the things
wheels.
that a lot of people are touting are the yellow fogs and the yellow headlights, kind of a retro styling, kind of a throwback to the incandescents. But with the benefit of the yellow or amber light that helps cut through fog and night vision issues.
It's
Uh,
Jeffrey's bed topper.
I was gonna say, Rob just commented Conestoga wagon top. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right,
I really like the front end of this, though. Honestly, I
Jeff,
do.
it's a sexy looking truck, and I appreciate it. I just want to see it with a Cummins and a
I don't
3/4 ton
disagree.
of chassis.
I don't
underneath of it.
disagree. That would be
And
awesome.
you know what, Scott? I'll give you the non-integrated fenders. I want to keep the 7 slots. I want it to stand on its own. It's a new grill. I want it to be a new grill. I don't mind the flares, but I would be okay with having integrated. But I think, of course, we run into the issue of wheel well clearance, right?
Yeah.
Now, we figured it out on the M715 versus a J truck,
Right.
and they could have given us something a little more similar to that, I suppose. But
Yeah,
not,
this would look
not
cool
bad.
with a 715 brush card on the front.
It would.
Mm-hmm.
It would. But they've done that, right?
They
They
have.
gave us that. So this is a pretty good.
This one is a concept one.
Okay.
This one, bug out and rewind were considered concepts.
Makes more sense.
I want to go with bug out and just kind of articulate the fact that I think that they had divvied up who was going to be doing what, and somebody was like, "Oh man, we actually have this platform over here," and they were like, "Man, everybody's tapped," and they were like, "Well, my kid needs something to do," and they
Got out
just
the crayons.
they just got out the crayons and let their 7-year-old run buck wild with
Well,
naming and,
They also
and
could have
coloring
done the
that
same
vehicle.
thing with the retro interior. They just gave them a very small color palette.
Yes, yeah, that is.
Fred said, "Good morning. No thanks. Going to stick with my '89 Grand Wagoneer, CJ7 and CJ5."
In true
he does
Fred
not
Fred-
like that one.
I concur, Fred.
Yeah, he likes his old vintage iron there.
Your sister says she likes this one, but it'd be a little spendy for a farm truck.
Yeah, it would be a bit much. That is encroaching on a big rig as far as that kind of that tow pig that does double duty once you get somewhere. You know, I like the concept of that. I like the idea that you could hook up to a small camper. What by small I mean a good size camper.
Small for Neil,
Small for me.
large for everyone else.
Yeah, and go to your destination, unhook it, go play off road, and come back, and that truck is going to do it.
I really like that one. I'm sold. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I still like the J6. You know, I like the versatility, regular cab, 6-foot bed.
Yep.
Out of that, the Sun Chaser, as you mentioned, I think is got some depth to it.
I thought you'd
You
like
know,
that one.
And of course, I like
And it's
anything
4xe,
I like
so-
anything along the 4xe platform.
I don't. I'm okay not having 4xe. So
Well, and I think it's absolutely fascinating. They teased us with no other power plants. They said we're just going to give you trim packages, basically.
Yep.
I just
So
want a
aesthetic styling.
Good, I just want a good diesel, and I don't think I'm ever going to get it.
It's probably true.
It's
Yep.
probably true.
that was
It's
pretty.
America, and we like our gasoline engines.
Yeah, we take all of our diesels and ruin them.
That's fair. That's fair.
That was
yeah,
a pretty good episode though. I think we covered everything.
I think we covered them. I do, encourage anybody who's out there who would like to share with us and send us any pictures or anything that you see in living color.
Rob's
triggered.
comment. We gotta get
Rob's
he's triggered. The '90s throwback did not have his headlights, and he's upset.
He says, just want to know why the 90s throwback had those goofy round headlights. I actually am aware of why it had those goofy round headlights. And I can tell you that there is a conversation with the only person who's successfully done square headlights on a throwback. And there is a particular aftermarket provider who commissioned a retro designed square headlight front end on a JL. And then not only did they commission it, but then the individual who actually brought it to fruition created a proprietary design. And I think he has enough influence and enough, within the right circle of elbow rubbing, which is not the people that you saw. He's in one camp, and the folks that help these concepts come off the ground are in another camp, and he literally just brought the square headlight swap for JLs. Right now, you can buy a YJ-inspired grill for your JL online as a kit. And I'm darn near certain that that is why that Jeep, though it deserves square headlights, that there is something going on behind the scenes. I'd put money on it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that they did not allow that to happen, because that would have made the most sense, because that kit is in production. It is not a product. I mean, it's available right now. You could turn online and buy it. So for it not to show up on that Jeep speaks volumes to somebody like me. So interesting enough on that. I had a lot of fun. As I was mentioning, if you're out there and you're listening to this, we would love to hear your firsthand account of what you see going on and maybe what you've participated in. As I mentioned, we have lots of friends and Jeep family out there who, are moving and shaking and kind of enjoying all the things that the Jeep life, kind of represents. And we rely on you to kind of bring that organic content back to us and the rest of our large extended Jeep family. So please consider, reaching out to our text only number 440-855-2100, shooting us a message over to contact, CONTACT at sfj4x4.com. You can check that out on our website. If you didn't notice, we've relaunched our website. It was not an April Fool's joke, though it was kind of a dirty deed that we did it on April Fool's Day. Kind of made sense. The website was down anyways, but or actually just thereafter. But that transition is done, and we're rocking and rolling on the new webpage, which is being managed solely in-house now by our own team, which is a breath of fresh air. So we look forward to reinvesting in that pursuit, kind of showcasing our content, our merchandise, and those great parts and builds that we are uniquely known for. This has been a banger. I look forward to more coverage of EJS. Those of you who are traveling to Jeep Beach coming next week, safe travels to you. It's a great start of the 2025 Jeeping season. Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Keep on. So now do we have audio?
I think we actually managed to salvage that episode.
We did.
Somehow, miraculously.
Well, that is,
Hey,
that's kind of the Island of Misfit way that we
yeah.
bring to the table.
well, it always goes well when you make fun of something.
Wow.
No, it was too much praise was the problem.
I
wasn't used to it.
Well, we were praising you in the system, but he was saying we was making fun of a lot of the concepts. Yeah. I like a lot of the concepts. I just, there's questions. I have questions.
I'm stuck with the 2 truck concepts that I liked, but other than that, meh.
Yeah, I always enjoy the concepts.
I do
really
too.
do.
I feel like they didn't try this year.
Well, I think it's hard to try as hard when you're broke.
Well, that's fair.
I mean, I think
That's when you should double down. It's when you bring
That's
your A
exactly
game.
that
what
is
I-
why we get along entirely too well. We just exist on the brink of brokenness, and we just keep doubling down as a group.
I guess that one being, just a recycled last year's was sort of that.
What are you doing?
I'm shutting the heater on.
It's
It
a little
gets-
warm in here.
It got pretty warm in here.
It is hot as Hades. Oh my god, it's hot as Hades in here.
Why?
Before I start stripping,
Please don't.
I don't know. We might get some more viewers at the
No,
last minute there.
everybody will sign off.
Fair. My gosh. Okay.
I'm excited. You gotta save that for the nighttime episode that we do.
What did you do over the weekend, Jeff?
I did some plumbing here at the shop.
You did. You got a shower.
Yeah, I did.
Not intentionally.
Unintentional shower.
I thought it was the best part. I was talking to a customer.
I thought it was the best part.
I told you. He got a kick out of it.
I'm talking to a customer. I'm facing Jeff. They're facing me.
Right.
And I just see this water go almost hit the ceiling. And I was like, we're just gonna act like that didn't happen.
Just keep on going with it.
And later he said, Jeff's like, did you see what happened? I was like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, I got to watch the whole thing.
He's like, got me right in the face. I was like, as it should.
I wasn't missing a moment of that.
Yep. But that's done. That's good
It
to go.
is.
Yeah, that's exciting. Moving us one step closer.
And then I was a blueprint interpreter for a good chunk of Saturday after hours because
he was.
Scott is working on the building and getting the permitting, and the permitting is like, well, you're approved, but you have
Yeah.
to give us
That's
X,
conditions.
Y,
I
Z.
got red marks. I
I
thought I was in
heard.
high school.
Yeah.
I heard.
So I went through those, interpreted the data that they needed out of it, and
Yes.
promptly forgot to bring the package for Scott today.
As
So-
I wouldn't expect any less.
Well, then he employed his Jeff the Builder skills
He
with
did.
me on Sunday.
yeah, and that was all bulk of Sunday was helping with the roof on that, which
Yeah.
was trying to remember how to do metal roofing. That was fun.
Well, it's good to train over there. So when we get to mine, we're good.
Yeah, I was good at that. we kept going. We got to start on the back, so we screw up on the back first, and we move to the front,
As you
right?
should.
Unfortunately, we kept having a really hard time with that. It was like, we're going to start in this corner and work our way this way. And Jeff would be like, okay, I'm starting over here and moving backwards. And I'm like, we literally just game planned from A to Z. And Jeff was like, I'm
listen.
going to jump in at T and work back to A.
Listen, the one I literally held up and go, so I need to cut here, and you're like, yep, and I go and cut it, and then we're like, nope, that wasn't
That
what
was
we were doing.
wrong, Jeff. That was wrong.
You measure once, cut 3 times.
You know what?
To say the
What's
least.
even better is we go to start doing it, and I'm looking at the roof panels, and I'm looking at the roof, and I'm like, I'm gonna measure this, measure out 90 inches, not including the extra inch or two that you want to overhang it. Measure his roof panels; they're 82 inches. This isn't gonna work.
They didn't. My roof panels are too short. I'm not sure who screwed that up. Whether that was me,
I
whether
just
that was
want
the
you to have
supplier.
a very prominent ridge cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got some rectifying of that to be done. If the roof panels would have been the correct height, we would have been 100% done with the roof.
The 92 inches that we needed to be doesn't include the gap for the ridge cap. So
Dear.
that's going up to the ridge cap where it's supposed to.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
It's unfortunate. I'll be honest with you, but we're ready for those replacement roof panels to come in and for us to get it all
Well, see,
situated.
it didn't matter. You cut it wrong. Yeah.
Nah, you know what?
But
Again,
we didn't
in
cut
true
roof panels because
we didn't cut them. The
okay.
supplier did. And in true SFJ fashion, we're going to adapt and overcome. It's going to be okay. Is it less than ideal? Yes. Is this the
Always.
kind of any project is one broken bolt away from turning into an all day affair? That's where we're at.
as I was doing the drip edge and as we get to the eave trim and that, I kept saying we need to channel Scott on how to cut the metal so that it folds the way we want it to fold, and that has always been a challenge for me to see.
Mm-hmm.
But I think working with you and your metal stuff, I'm starting to see some of that matrix because I was able to figure
we
that out
did
pretty quickly.
definitely kind of embody you a couple times, wishing you would just bestow a little bit of your vision upon us.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, it's just like knowing where to drill and what to do and line stuff up when it comes to the metal itself. You've developed this skill over the last couple of years so much that we're both very greenhorn in the
Metalworks.
process, and there is just little tricks to it, and I can only imagine that a roofer who's doing it regularly has such a quick and expeditious process.
Yeah.
But I kept saying to Jeff, for me, this little piece that we've been working on, it's about the journey of learning to do a roof from scratch. And it's not huge,
Well,
but it's not small.
And I was joking that it's a shame that this journey is 5 years after I did mine, when I learned all the mistakes once. Now I have to relearn all the mistakes. But the benefit is I'm learning them faster because I've done it before.
Yeah.
Fair.
You're like, wait a minute, I've cut this wrong before.
Yep.
And I'm going to cut it wrong again, but we've got some more.
But now we know how to fix it because we had to fix it last time.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
So yeah, that's pretty much what my weekend was. What about you?
Well, you helped me rotate my tires because I'm broken.
That's
And,
also true.
Wow. Wow.
And,
I was just a general handyman this weekend for the
was.
whole shop.
And I had a tire that kept going low, and Greg in 2 seconds diagnosed that and then fixed it faster than we could rotate tires and check air filters.
Listen,
Just
I
no
had the
surprise.
tires all rotated faster, and he had that done because your wheels are so stupid that your valve is in the center.
Yes.
So he had to break it down to change it.
Yes.
If he didn't have to break it all the way down to change that, he would have been faster.
Yeah. But we got that done, and tires are rotated like they should, and now we're not choking on a nastiness in the cabin filter anymore.
So listen, we had this. We pulled the Jeep in just after 1 o'clock, and we were pulling out by 1:30.
Wow. It was like a pit crew.
It
Yeah,
was. It was.
We were a well-oiled machine,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
Scott did all the heavy lifting with the center caps and putting those on.
All the heavy
did.
lifting with the center caps.
Greg and I
It was
took care of the
exactly his
tires.
speed.
Yeah.
It was exactly his speed.
Yeah, 100%. So we got that done. Then I went home, worked on the mill, put it all back together. It functions now. It does need adjusted or something, but I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm over it. Be a good mill, and you can just function.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we ate dinner, and then I came out and I actually worked on an exhaust manifold for a project in the house or in-house because I was just tired of it languishing. So I went ahead and got broken bolts out, destroyed some end mills, maybe broke a drill bit or two. It's
Oh,
all
boy.
good.
Oh, boy.
Got that all rectified. And then Sunday, my trailer was loaded with all the posts for the building. So I went out and figured out really quick how many posts make the tractor tippy. For the real long ones, it's about 4.
Okay.
But I also can go over the fender and put the forks on the deck of the trailer, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
That is cool.
So I was able to get those over on. And then we recently got a new bed, which came with a power bed frame, so you can tilt your head up, So that was pretty cool. And
What does that have to do with the
hold on,
forks?
I'm getting there.
Okay,
getting there.
I am not grown enough
I'm getting there.
to have this conversation
I know.
on so many levels.
I know.
So
But you know what? We had a conversation. No, I'm interrupting you.
That's
And
fine.
I'm going to try not to cuss and fuss in the process. But he sold his tractor and he
did.
said he put the money on the table.
this was way before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
the bed was already there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So now
This
we're
is
just on
why
the
I'm
power
confused
bed
by what-
and the tractor and the long poles and the forks on the
A-
tractor.
Anyway,
Okay.
so when we bought our bed, now they don't just haul away your old bed. They want you to pay extra for that.
Yes.
And my wife was like, no.
Ah,
So our old mattress was a memory foam. We cut that into chunks and put that in the garbage over time.
fair.
And I stripped the box springs down to just the wood and the metal.
Okay.
And they were languishing behind the garage because
Okay.
that's what my life is currently.
Yes.
So I moved Amy CJ7, and I'm looking like, what am I going to put these posts on? And I looked over and I saw those frames from the box spring. I was like, that's what's up.
You have homemade pallets. Massive.
So I put those down, metal down, and I'm like, we'll see how much weight they carry because these are 3,000 pounds of posts.
Putting it on a 300-pound weighted box spring.
And they're fine. They want to wiggle a little side to side, but they're fine. They haven't collapsed yet.
Yet.
Wow.
I did have my daughter help with the tarps, though, so I wasn't adding too much unnecessary extra weight.
little heavy.
So,
Climbing little peanut
I was gonna
climbing
say, if
around.
anything, that took weight away from it. I think.
So then after that, Greg came over and we put out the start of pegging out where the building's going to go. And of course, it's in the lowest part of my yard. There's literally active water laying there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about putting a pond in your property?
We already were talking about maybe doing a little drainage ditch / retention pond thing because, yeah.
So
Because yeah. he says.
So my thing is, you were talking about this morning that you're gonna have to have like 6 or 7 triaxle loads,
Yeah.
but instead
We dig a pond
we dig a pond in the backyard and we put in a couple of drain diverters
to the pond.
to the pond,
Hmm.
and then you don't have to raise that level.
So I just hear yet another reason why I need a backhoe.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I already have a backhoe. What I see a value in is a mini excavator,
I've been looking at them all
like
weekend.
a mid-size mini. So
those are too expensive. I've been looking at mini X's all weekend.
yeah.
A mini X.
A
would be
mini
perfect.
X and a backhoe for my tractor are almost the same price.
Oh.
Um,
Oh. Get the
Right.
mini
I'm
X
talking
over
a
that.
little mini X,
He's talking the little minis.
where it's
and
got
that's
like
the
a
problem.
13.5 horsepower
and that's
motor.
that's the challenge. Is they're not the
Yeah.
prolific ones.
You need the mid.
Yeah, I get that, but
so
that's basically though the little mini X does all the same things that the backhoe on my tractor would do.
I gotcha.
So
that is true. Well, that was a good weekend. Until next time, folks, we got lots of